Good day and welcome to another time on the program Hi Woman on New Frontiers Television. It's always good to have you joining us, and I feel so excited anytime I'm here, particularly on this program, because it's a program where we bring on women-related issues for discussion, considering the fact that the roles and the responsibilities of women in the society cannot be overemphasized. Their roles cut across every sector of the society, and so our issues about them are given more importance. So in case it is your first time of tuning in, this is I Woman on New Frontiers Television, and I am your host on the show, Temitope Oladeko. Yes, it will recall last week that we started a discussion around bullying among children and what parents, school authorities should do to end this societal menace. Today we are going to digress a bit in looking at child protection, the principle of child protection. Oftentimes we've seen videos of bullying, abuse on children, and you come to ask yourself, a question strikes you that, oh, what exactly are we teaching these children? Do they really know their right? Do they know that under the right they are being protected? So I think these are the things that we need, the lessons we need to start doling out to our children. Hence why we need to talk about the principles of child protection, and that is going to be the focus of our discussion on the show today. So I have a guest on the show who is, I believe, is going to do justice to this topic at hand. Today I have with me Mrs. Christiana Oluwatoyin Daniel. She is a child protectionist. It's good to have you on the program, ma.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Now, I think it's imperative for us to first establish what exactly is child protection, because so that we don't have a different view about it. Let's just start by describing what exactly is child protection.
Thank you so much. Child protection in simple terms is protecting, guiding a child, safeguarding a child from abuse, preventing a child from potential harm. Harm can happen anyway. So child protection in natural fact is you are guiding that child, saving that child away from harm. You know, we keep money, we save money for maybe a particular purpose. So now you have a target in mind. So now you're preventing harm from coming. It's something you do before the harm occurs.
Like prevention?
Yes. So child protection in simple terms is preventing abuse from occurring or happening to a child. The measures you put in place so that the child will not become vulnerable, not to the extent or witnessing abuse or violence. In simple terms, is a child protection.
Okay, ma'am. Now, with the enormity of challenges that's bedeviling the many children in this society, ranging from human trafficking, abuse, just like you mentioned, violence and abuse and deprivation, to what extent do you think stakeholders, don't let me say parents alone, to what extent do you think we are implementing or putting into use this child protection?
Thank you so much. Child protection, actually, we all are getting aware. People are getting aware about child protection, just like child protection is an act from the child.
But you think the awareness is enough?
The awareness is there. One way or the other, people will tell you they've heard about it, but the implementation is just low. I think that's where we need to come in. At least the majority would have heard, oh, I heard there's child's rights, but they may be ignorant of what it entails. You know, because I remember in some cases that we undo when we call the parents or the perpetrator, the next day they'll be like, I didn't know it's an abuse, or maybe you beat a child to the extent that maybe you abuse the child in a way that it affects the child. Some of them will be that, I didn't know, nobody told us. But they just know they've heard about child abuse. Then some may be like, okay, beating a child is not an abuse, especially in this part of the world, in Africa, that you feel like you can discipline your own child by beating them. So you know, when you beat a child, it's wrong. But in actual fact, beating a child to the extent that it affects that child, it affects either psychologically, emotionally, physically, or anyway, is an abuse. You don't even need to beat. There are other ways of correcting children or talking to them. So I can say the awareness is so low. Many people don't even know what it entails. What are the content of the child's right law? Not even know what child protection is. So this has been the major issue. So creating more awareness, just like you're doing now, is just part of letting people know what child protection is, letting people know what are the rights of the children. Because some will tell you children have no right in their own home, that they are the alpha and omega, because they are the parents. But in the child's right law, it is laid down there. There are roles to be played by the parents, the stakeholders, the government, the school, the churches, because they are the duty bearers, while the children themselves are the rights holders, because the law is being enacted for them. So now every other person that works with the child, that in the life of the child, are the duty bearer, and we all need to come together and make the child's right law to be publicized, to be implemented, and to be known even to the children. Some of the children don't even know their right. We'll not even talk of the parents. So people, we just, this part of the world, we just leave it, we accept it the way it comes, and most stakeholders, especially the government, when we enact a law, when it is being passed, we just stop there. Implementation has always been the issue. Implementing the child's rights law has so many obstacles standing
like
in the
impediments.
way. Yes, impediments standing in the way to its success.
Okay, so one of it is just you want to mention low sensitization and awareness.
Yes.
Now, recently there was a news, I don't know whether you also get to know about it, of a baby factory that was discovered. We have so many of them, but this one was just in the news perhaps because of the people involved, because they saw minors, people under 30 years old, in a baby factory. And oftentimes we've seen people coming under the excuse of it was because of poverty, bad governance, poor education, and a lot of excuses. Now, what do we make of all of this? And we're talking about implementation of child protection. Naturally, I believe that there is no parent that derives joy in subjecting a child to violence or to any form of societal menace. But in a situation like this, how do you think that we can implement child protection? Because it's actually uncalled for, particularly when you see a baby producing baby. No, that is the situation.
That's it.
So how do we make of all of this?
Actually, I can say most of our approach, a top-down approach, it should be bottom-up. We should start from the grassroots. When you are starting, you want to build a house, you can't just start from the roof. You have to start from the foundation. This foundation is faulty. Even if the Bible book I read, which is the Bible, I'm a Christian, says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? It will just collapse. But now, it's not too late. We can start. But I've always said, we don't just pass a bill or enact a law and leave it at that point. And we all should see ourselves as stakeholders, as people that want to, the sources of the implementation. And the sources of implementation start from government, from parents, from teachers, schools, seeing themselves as this is a business, and it is the business of the child's right, of child protection.
But we are always too quick to push blame.
You understand? Now we all have to make it to work. Because if this thing is faulty or is not working, to affect the nation as a whole. Because whatsoever we do today, it will reflect in our children today. Nelson Mandela says, the soul of the society is seen in the way, is reflected in the way it sees its children. Because whatsoever you put into the children today will be seen tomorrow, either we like it or not. They learn by observing, by what we do, by modeling what we do. And it is just simple. If you cannot turn it around and start by implementing child's rights or child's law the way it's be, firstly, every organization, every institution, wherever you belong to, everyone should have a safeguarding policy. But this is missing. Even government, if you go to government organization, I will tell you they don't even have them. We have the child's right law. But the child's right law talks about the right of the child. But the policies that every one of us need to have is talking about, okay, the child's right law, how do we implement it in our own home? How do we implement it in our own church? How do we implement it in our own mosque? How do we implement it in our own school? So by the time we'll have it in different facets of the organization, of the society, of institution, that's in the social institution, when everyone has it, it makes it easy. They said where there is no law, people are bound to do whatsoever they like. But these laws are being passed. Now, the policies need to be implemented. As a school, let me have a child's right policy. If you're coming to work for me, these are the rules. these are the policy, this is what is acceptable in this institution, and this is what is not acceptable. By the time you know it, you have it, there won't be issue. But it's in a place where you don't even have a child's right policy, and someone is coming to work for you, and the person is abusing a child, you can only scold the person, and you may not even know what will be done when such issue arise. But if you have put it there, that you know, okay, in this organization, we don't exploit children. Children are not allowed to, under 18, are not allowed to be employed into this institution, and you can't exploit children by underpaying them, even if they are maybe above 16, they are working for you. Maybe you have to do a casual job and things like that. These are the things that need to be. Government first need to be the example. In homes, we all need to imbibe that habit of being the example. Because if we don't do it, if there are no policies anyway, and for example now we used to have child parliament in Oyo State, but I can tell you for not even years, decades we've not heard about them, but I've heard of other states, at least maybe states like Ogun, having the parliament going on, and even Lagos. You know, Lagos has always been, Lagos is working, but in Oyo we've only had one, if I remember very well. And since then, I remember recently we were talking about them. These children that were even put in place, they are more than 18 years. They are adults, so we can't even use them. And when they were there, what was working? And you know, this is government thing. It's not NGO. The NGO can only push. The government worker can push, but the government have to do it. And my prayer is, you don't just bring children in because they are the child of one commissioner, the child of one politician or whatsoever, but put in children that can speak for children. And all this, you know, being to school to talk about child's rights, promoting the child's right law and things like that. But we need things that will work. The system that will work. The system that will work. The child policy should be for every institution. Just even your institution, your Frontier Television should have their own child safeguarding policy or child protection policy. So that if anybody is coming, the issue of, oh, I didn't know I touched that child anyhow, maybe as child and harassment, sexual harassment, it won't be in place. If organization, if you don't have child and sexual exploitation policies and things like abuse policy, and someone is coming in, maybe he feels it's normal to talk to a colleague anyhow, and especially, and maybe the person is somehow talking, you know, sexually harassing, it won't be a sin. But how do you handle that when you don't have something in place? I think this is where we need to start from. That's why I said you don't just build the building from the roof, you start from the foundation. But recently what we do is we've been talking to the children, let them know their rights, let them be empowered. When you empower them, they will know what they ought to do. But we still need to go a long way, because actually children cannot actually talk for themselves. They are, people will see them as powerless. They are vulnerable because they need parental consent. They need adult as guidance. That's why the child's right law talks about in the interest of the child. And all these things we are doing, are they actually in the interest of that child?
Are they aware?
You don't understand. So even decision we take at home, majority of them are not in the best interest of the child. We just believe that any decision we take to them, a child is going for an activity, and you feel that, okay, what you can do, you're going to secondary school, getting admission, just feel like, for me, you're going to maybe let me assume a name of it. So maybe the name of school is Olivet. Okay. I feel like, you're going to Olivet because I attended Olivet, or because Olivet is a school I love, or things like that. You know, it happens to us a lot. But now we're saying, let the voice of the child be heard. And don't just let the voice of the child be heard. You speak for the child what you know and what you think is right. Amplify the child's voice so that people can know this is the right of the child. This is a way to carry on behalf of this child. This is what the child has said, and as a parent I've looked at it, okay, as an interest, this thing can help the child. You guided the child in taking such decision.
Thank you so much for that good point you made there. Like I said, that last week we looked at the issue of bullying among school children, and looking at what we've been talking about. Child protection includes preventive measures, just like you rightly mentioned, and this includes the adoption of legislation prohibiting all forms of violence against children in all settings. That is, whether it's at home, offices, schools, and religious organizations. So how do we reconcile this issue of bullying and among school children, particularly when it's happening in a school that we thought, oh, they have it all, and yet we have cases of bullying in such environments?
Actually, bullying has been an issue. You know, I believe that whatsoever a child does, start from an adult. Either you like it or not, they must have learnt it, either from an adult or they've seen it in an adult, either at home or in school or somewhere. And if a child is picking advice from school, that means a fellow child has seen it at home and is implementing it in the school. Because bully don't just fall from the sky. They were raised in a home. And when children see what is happening around, they pick it, either you like it or not.
So we are raising bullying without knowing?
Yes. When you bully your wife at home, you bully a fellow friend, or you bully a colleague, you are equally passing the message across that, okay, anybody can bully anybody. And who has the problem? It's not even the bully that has the problem. It's not the bullied that has the problem. It's the bully itself. The bully is the victim. It's either maybe from home.
So the bullied is not a victim.
The bullied is not the victim. It's the bully that has the issue. So the bullied is not the problem now, but the bully, the one that is bullying someone, is the problem.
Okay. Maybe we have to expatiate on that,
Yes,
because
we have the bully.
Personally, technically, we think that the bullied is the one having the problem because it affects a whole lot.
Yes, that's just the problem. But where the foundation is with the bully. But the person that is being bullied, if you can speak up for yourself, stand up and talk for yourself, and do not allow yourself to be intimidated, you overcome your bully. But the bully is either the child, maybe a child or a grown-up, has been bullied by someone. Now he feels now is my time now to do just that to others. So it's a problem. It's a societal problem, a problem of the society that started from the home, or maybe from friends, from behavior or whatsoever. Because when a child sees the father being bullying the mother all the time, he sees it as a natural thing. Or maybe you have a father that bully his wife. You just see it's right for the male to bully the female. Then some, maybe due to the problems at home, maybe there have been issues that there have been separation, divorce, or maybe there are marital issues at home, and the children are witnessing it. It becomes an issue. They will go out. Maybe they are sad. So what they can do where they can derive happiness is to bully other children. Whereas some people were grown at home, maybe the way they were raised. Parents talking down on children, everybody in the house talking out on in the home, talking out down on others, on each other. The children will be picking it. Because just like we pick good and bad habits, they'll be picking all those things. And they want to practicalize it. Now they come back to the society to practice it. Because you can't tell me, in school we have children from different backgrounds coming in, but they come with different behavior. What they've seen, their little experience of interpersonal relationship, they bring it back to the school. So that's why I said the problem is not with the person that is being bullied, but the problem is with the bully itself. So we need, or where we come in now, is to watch ourselves. What kind of behavior do we exhibit in the presence of our children? What do we do to our wives? What do we do to our husband? How do we speak to fellow friends? Are you the type you're driving? I've witnessed this severally. You see drivers, parents driving on the road, maybe they are actually carrying out school runs. And the next thing is, maybe they just sped suddenly or something happened and they are lashing out at someone else. And it'll be like, and the children will be watching. They will just see it as normal way of life. And so should they find themselves in such situations, they will lash back. Or they will have, if there was a time, a particular day, I remember, I witnessed a case around Mokola, just around veterinary. This man was just coming, he overtook us anyhow. And the next thing, I was in a friend's car, we're riding towards UI. This man just said, you people just brushed past me and you spoiled my car. This guy actually brushed our car, and this man actually came in on a wrong way to overtook. You don't overtake on the left. This guy overtook down on the right, and this guy overtook. And before we knew what happened, he was lashing out at us, and he had younger children in the car. And he said, I'm a pastor. And I said, no, you don't say this. We are all human. You need to just talk as human to us. I had to step in and tell you, you were coming, we all were lining up, or you overtook without the road being free, and now you're complaining. After all, you batch a car. And this guy was still, and someone from the back just came and said, man, you were wrong. That you are the one that is at fault. This guy was still And normally the children, if not taken, they will be leader. Maybe if he's been doing that, they would either knowingly or unknowingly.
So there are some things you don't do in their presence because they pick easily.
And even that's why you have to be a role model. There are things you can talk, you can settle amicably. There are things you can settle because two wrongs can never make a right. So we should just be conscious of we are raising generations. Children of the leaders of tomorrow are the children in our homes today. That child, we don't know what that child will become today. We have politicians embezzling money, talking to people. We have touts on the streets. They all grew up at home, and they took this habit one way or the other. And that's why you see some people on the street, and they can say, "You, who are you?" You know, and they want to fight you, and you're just looking at yourself. How did we get here? To be sincere, it's a problem. It's a major problem, not among school children. Adults bully adults. Neighbors bullied neighbor. Father bullies mother. Mother bullies father. It's so common. It's everywhere. But we all need to work on ourselves to have a better society. We can't continue like this because either we like it or not, these children will become the leaders of tomorrow. Either we like it or not, they will not, and they will not live with us forever. So that's why we need to be intentional about what we do. We need to be intentional on the habits we exhibit, our behaviors, and everything we do.
And I think the defenseless and the helplessness state of the bullied cause for concern. Because sometimes you wonder that what is happening to the bullied. He or she can't raise his hand or talk back to the bully. And can we say that there are some interventions like protection, preventive interventions or strategy in such cases?
Actually, for a child that is being bullied, and for child's right generally, a child should be allowed to contribute to decisions that involve them, especially when you're taking decisions about them. All this start from home. Sit a child down, let this child be empowered, speak to them as friends, encourage them to always speak to you, to always speak up. If a child can communicate smoothly, you know, in most homes, the parent-child relationship, when it is not there, when it is not smooth, it will affect that child wherever she goes. So if the child, especially the homegrown bully, maybe you are the type that would call your child names, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. Even when someone outside is telling that child you're a moron, she will just say herself, my mommy has said I'm a moron. That's it. But if someone is telling you you're a moron, you know you are not a moron, you better tell the person, that name is not for me. And you don't call me that because nobody deserves to be called that name. When you empower a child, you empower a nation. But most people don't know. If you don't empower your child, you're always talking down on him or her. In the nearest future, it will be there. Even adults, adults that have been abused verbally, that have been abused psychologically and emotionally, when they get out, it becomes difficult to talk. In public, they will say that, no. Come and do this. You notice in public place, people don't want to sit in the front. Everybody wants to sit at the back. Just few people will take the initiative of staying in the front. Most seats are empty. And for even those that will even take the initiative, some of them cannot even express, they cannot even come out boldly to talk. But these are started from childhood, you understand. So we need to empower our children, let them know they are right, let them know the right way to behave in the society, and let them know that when they are being bullied or they see anything doing something wrong, report. You have to report, you have to speak up, you have to talk. And when you see a fellow child being bullied, you have to speak up, even not just being bullied. Anywhere you notice abuse, you notice violence, you should speak up. Don't just be silent. Don't just feel that, oh, I can't talk because the person is older than me. You have to speak up. Then run away from bully or abuse and tell a trusted adult or whoever that is available that you can trust.
I think before we round it up, I would like to ask you a question because I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago that I saw another video of a kind of fight that ensued between two school children, girls, and before you know it, one got injured and she was rushed to the hospital. The video actually went viral 2 days ago, and it brings us to the question of what are exactly the school authorities are doing when it comes to the issue of protecting the children under their care. Because sometimes when they drop the child at the school gate, that is it. So they don't care whether all they are particular about is the academic standard. But what about other aspects of that child's life? So what will be your recommendation for schools, proprietors and educational stakeholders in ensuring that this protection, this child protection is being implemented in school settings?
Thank you so much, ma'am. That still take me back to the issue of child safeguarding policy or child protection policy. Every school, the moment you work with a child, and I don't think there's any institution that will not one way or the other have something to do with a child. As a school, your number one policy should be child safeguarding or child protection policy. Let the policy be there. The way children relate, the way parents relate, everybody will be a stakeholder. Come together. I've told people, build your child safeguarding policy. You can consult an expert if you don't know how to go about it. Talk to people who will help you build whatever you want to build. Build a child protection policy. Let every stakeholder be there. Let them be involved. And you all come together to say, okay, these are policy and this is binding. And anyone you're recruiting or whosoever is bringing a child into your school, let them also know. So it won't be an issue. If a child does not have child safeguarding policy, a school does not have child safeguarding policy, it should not be called a school. Because most schools don't even know what the child's right law says. You are employing someone to work with a child, with children, and you've not even done background check on that person. I'm surprised. I went to a school recently. I look at the people they put in as security guards. I was like, God, this is a gunpowder, this is a time bomb.
Time bomb.
You understand? I just looked at it that these people themselves are not supposed, they are not the kind of people that should be where children, you understand? But we've missed it. We've missed it, and when we missed it, we have to start from the foundation again. Everyone should work towards getting a child protection policy. Develop your policy so that when issue occurs, in fact, when these things happen, it helps you. At the end of the day, you will be the one that will say, okay, thank God I have this policy in place, because so many problems will be averted and there won't be harms, because in summary, the policy, the child's rights talks about do no harm. No harm should be done to children. Even though in our home we do so many harms, and even in school we do so many harms. Children don't even know their rights, not even talk of you, the teachers. So when the teachers don't even know, not even talk about the children. But you have to know that these are the laws, these are the things I have to do that let me work with these children very well. And when you know it, you are rest assured that you're not violating any of it. But if you don't know it, when there is abuse is eminent wherever there are no guiding principles. So let every school work towards getting a child safeguarding policy or a child protection policy. Develop your school. Let the children be empowered, and have a anti-bully act in place. It is important. You could be in your child safeguarding policy, or you be intentional about it. Anti-bully policy, even when answering question in class. So then children are being bullied, that some people cannot even raise their hand to answer questions. And some teachers even encourage bullying. So all these need to be understood. So this is not something we just finish in a day, just like you understand. But everyone needs to play their role so that we can build a better society, and we can rest assured that, okay, the children we are raising are the right set of children for the future we need, so that we can have a better society.
Because the future starts now.
Now, yes.
So, and we need to start taking care of it like now. Thank you so much, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Christiana Daniels, for this wonderful time. I just wish you have more time to really discuss this in depth, but we have to go now. But one thing I have taken from this conversation is the fact that every child needs more. You must first identify their needs. They have both physical needs, emotional needs, and this is where the bulk of the work lies. You must first identify their needs. Then you now make effort to protect them from every form of abuse and violence. And I think it's a collective responsibility, not about parents, not about government, not anybody's business. It's a collective responsibility for us to raise these children for a better future. Because a child that refuses to train or care for today, will become the problem of the society, and that will be so disastrous for everybody then. So it's not about, oh, I'm a parent of this child, so I'm not a parent. I've said it several times that I think we have to go past the era where we have to be saying that, oh, in as much he or she is not my child, then
your children will get married tomorrow, whether you like it or not. When someone is not raising their children, one way or the other, you don't know, they can get across. At least we didn't marry our own brother or marry our own sister.
They have to marry.
Yes, it happens. Even do you know, even children, neighbors can get married. You may not even be at the immediate. Maybe later in life they will meet, because we don't know this. It's a small world. The life is just too funny that you don't know what can happen the next moment.
So it's better that we just collaborate. It's a collective effort, and let's ensure that we protect all the children God has given us, and even into society as well. I'll say a big thank you to Mrs. Christiane Oluwatoyin Daniel for this wonderful time on the show today. That's where we drop the curtain on today's episode. See you again next week by God's grace. Until then, it's goodbye for now.